Hey planner friends, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm only planning from the 21st to the 27th of April in my Archer & Olive notebook, and I'm using a kit from Plannerface again. This one is called Spring Garden and it's just these beautiful springy pastel colours, and it's very different from the spread that I did before it, but we'll just get a little bit of whiplash when we flip through this month. As always, I do PR for Plannerface, so you can use my code in the description to save yourselves a little bit of money and also mention me for a seasonal freebie. I have all of my stickers pulled out and my planning notes in front of me, so let's get started with the base. So as I mentioned in my last actual plan with me video, I decided that I would start running about a week behind on plan with me, just because I was trying to get everything done on Sunday, and then I was feeling like stressed for the week ahead because I'd basically spent all of Sunday trying to get my video up, or I'd have to go on my PC before work to try and finish editing when I was working from home. And I said that with getting back into doing plan with me's, I wanted them to be as sustainable as possible. I'm gonna use the girl with the red hair this week. I wanted it to be like sustainable. I didn't want it to feel like I was constantly behind or like it was another job. So hopefully this little change will mean that I can keep making videos and not have to go back to the sort of radio silence that I had for a while. I just realised my habit track is yellow, so I probably don't want that box at the top to be yellow. I'm not colour blocking this week. I might colour block next week. Yeah, so I'm not colour blocking this week. It was just a normal sort of week. I started getting or having like a migraine attack towards the end of the week, which was not ideal, and kind of will carry on into like the week I'm currently in when I plan that one out. Which again, not ideal, especially when the weather has been so lovely. But yeah, this week we had Easter Monday, so I had the Monday off work, which is why I've got a longer column for it. And then I was supposed to be in work 4 days, but I ended up taking the Friday off sick, because if I'm not managing to work from home, there's no chance that I'm gonna cope being in the office. One of the things that triggers migraine for me is lighting, and I've got this sort of ongoing drama with work about the overhead lighting in our new office space, and it's still not sorted. Thankfully my manager is absolutely wonderful, and she's like chasing the more senior people like every week at the senior leads meeting to try and get it sorted. But in the meantime, I'm just being off sick every now and then. But now that I don't have portfolio stuff to worry about, if I'm off sick, I can just be off sick and not feel like I'm missing out on stuff for my development. Of course, like, in my opinion, if you're sick, you should be off sick, but it's always makes you feel a bit rubbish when you know that, like, it's not a you problem. Like, this is something that should have been fixed ages ago. Anyway, enough about bitching about lighting at work. What else happened this week? I finished watching the European Championships. We had the last session on the Monday, and I got to see Emily Campbell make history. She's like the only woman to win 5 back-to-back European titles, which was incredible to watch. And then we just had a sort of a lazy Easter Monday. And then work was work. Training was actually really good this week. I had my first week of like competition prep, because I'm competing in May, middle of May, yeah. And this was actually like a really strong start to competition prep. I was really happy with how training went this week. Well, actually, there's one with hot cross buns. That's quite Eastery. We'll pop that down in the bottom of Monday. And then we'll do the gardening one right at the bottom here. Because I have this box down here, I might actually put my double box at the top of Saturday and Sunday, just to even out the page a little bit. I originally had no idea what kit I was going to use for this week because I used such an unusual kit for the week before, for like the time of year. And I was worried if I used anything particularly Eastery this week, because I don't really celebrate Easter, but you know, any excuse to decorate with a theme in my planner. It would look a little bit weird, but I think just going with a spring sort of like gardening themed kit, because we did have some landscapers in on the Friday this week. That also didn't help with my migraine. I had a day off to like recover from feeling rubbish, and a guy with a chainsaw came in and cut down a tree near our house that we needed to get rid of. Put the weekend planner down on the bottom like that. There you go. Cool, so that's the base of this spread. It's looking very springy already, and definitely a huge difference from the week before. Okay, so let's get started with the plans for the week. First up, on Monday, it was Easter Monday. So I'm going to use a little thing to mark that in. And the first thing that I did on Monday was I did all of my memory planning from the previous week. Yeah, there's quite a big plan with me for that one. I then did my training for the day. Got that out of the way early in the morning. I was actually really like hyped to start training this week because I knew that it would be competition prep and I would get to start doing some heavier lifts. And then I watched the women's 87 pluses. I've just realised oh no, yeah, I'm missing a sticker. Okay, I then did some editing. I might have to make some stuff a bit bigger. Let's go from the end of the day. Let's use this one for editing. And then me and my partner went to the pub because it was nice and sunny in the afternoon. And then I ended the day just playing some Baldur's Gate with Becca. I think, if I remember rightly, she'd been away like all of the previous weekend, so I've been playing a lot of Sims. So as soon as she messaged me on Monday, like, I'm gonna be back at this time, like, let's play, because she hadn't played any of like the new patch and like the new subclasses and stuff. So we played a lot of Baldur's Gate this week and the week that I'm currently in, even though it's been like glorious sunshine outside. I've tried to make the most of like the sunshine, because I know that if I don't, I'll feel like, oh no, I've wasted summer, even though it's still spring. But I also don't do too well in the sun. Like, I'm a pale little goth. Okay, that's all resized. So for marking that it was Easter, I have a bunny deco from the kit and an Easter Monday script from my custom holidays scripts from Plannerface. I'm then marking in doing my planning for the week with the planner doodle from the kit. For training this week, I'm using dumbbell version 1. And I've got my custom snatch script from Plannerface. For watching weightlifting, I've got the TV doodle from the kit, and then for editing, I just have a bit of deco. For popping to the pub, I have a spring Bunilla, and then for gaming in the evening, I have Bunilla Gaming. Okay, moving on to Tuesday. Tuesday was Earth Day, so I'll mark that in with another little thing. I didn't actually do anything for Earth Day because I forgot. Oh dear. I was working from home on this day, so I'm going to use a quarter box to mark that in. And then it's actually really close and I don't have too much to mark in this day. And then just going to mark in doing some errands with a little thing. And then use another event label to mark in getting my training done. And then in the evening, you guessed it, playing some Baldur's Gate with Becca. The two blues in this kit are really similar, and I feel like I'm going to get confused about which one I've used at some point in this setup. Okay, they look just about different enough. Okay, so to mark Earth Day, I have this little flower from Papershire, and then to mark work, I have a spring Bunilla at her laptop. I did laundry this day, but the laundry doodle from the kit is the wrong colour, so I'm just using the cleaning doodle. And then for training, I have, again, dumbbell version 2 and a clean script from Planaface. And then I have Lottie Gaming for Baldur's Gate in the evening. On Wednesday, I was working on site, so I'm going to use a third box to mark that in. Yeah, so I started off like this day not feeling great. It was a really busy day in work. I was the only person of my level in, which is really stressful because I'm still kind of new to the role. But it's just the way that things went today on this day. I then after work had a sports massage because my back was bothering me from the crappy hotel bed that I slept in the week before. So I went and got my back fixed. I was then going to mark in that I was exhausted. I'm using a lot of greens up already. It's going to be fine. Yeah, I was exhausted. And then I uploaded my video. And then I might leave the upload out actually. I only tend to put it in when there's not other stuff that I want to mark. And unfortunately for me, oh, maybe if I put it in on a little thing. And then in the evening, I just had a bit of a YouTube binge. Okay, yeah, that fits. I would have put exhausted in like a smaller box, but the sticker that I have for it is not small. So yeah, at this point I just thought I was tired. Like this day had been really stressful. It had been my first day in the office for a while and I was on my own. Figuratively speaking, like I had all of the band sixes in. Okay, so I've got a Bunilla at work for work, and then I have a chiropractor Bunilla for my sports massage. I don't go to chiropractors. I've never found any use personally, but I always have a sports massage because of my back at the moment, so it fits pretty perfectly. I then have this Lottie having a bad day to mark in that I was exhausted. And then I have a teacup for my upload and an upload script from Planaface. And then for my YouTube binge in the evening, I just have a bit of deco from the kit. Okay, moving on to Thursday. I was working from home this day. And then after lunch, I gave up working from home and just went and slept for a little bit. So I realised it was a migraine, not just being tired. So I didn't train this day. I feel like I am getting better. Oh, that wanted to be yellow. Let's use this one for my lie down. I'm getting better at like not forcing myself to train when I'm not feeling great. However, to cheer me up, some of the online shopping that I did the previous week arrived this day, so that made me feel better. And then I just had a lazy gaming evening. I feel like we'll do that one and just move it all around a little bit. Yeah, so once I realised that like I was working from home and not being able to like cope with the pain in my head, and also not to be too like TMI, but I get like stomach related migraine symptoms as well, and I just don't want to be in an office with a whole bunch of people and like shared toilet space. I would much rather just be at home where I can just feel disgusting by myself. So that's what I did. So I've got Vanilla for work and then Lottie for migraine. And then I have the pillow doodle from the kit for my lie down, some deco for my shopping arriving, and then Lottie all wrapped up in a blanket for my lazy gaming evening. Okay, so on Thursday, I'm first marking that I called in sick. So I messaged my line manager in the morning and was like, hey, there's no way that I'm coming in today. And yeah, that was that. Ghost, the band that I went to see the week previous, their album released today, so I did listen to that quite a lot. Okay, I had to dig out a event label from my stash, so hopefully this colour doesn't look too weird. I think this must have been from a monthly kit as it's a bit long, so we'll just trim that one. This day this was why it wasn't like a particularly relaxing day. We had a landscaper come in and remove some plants, or like a tree and some hedges from our garden. We had a tree that had been planted like way too close to the front of our house, and it was getting to the point where it was gonna start growing under the house, so we didn't want that, so we got rid of that one. And then I'll just pop in a little thing for the end of the day. So we just had some gaming and drink. Oh no, I played Baldur's Gate with Becca. Cool. I might just swap this one and this one around so that the two greens aren't like so opposite each other. Hold on, no. So Skeletor, so I called in sick. Skeletor came out. The landscaper then arrived, so I can put that further up. I think I've just written these down in the wrong order. And then I felt better enough to do my training. Yeah, I think like the day before I'd walked Reggie and felt horrendous. So I was like, there's no way that I'm getting out and about to do more stuff. And I've got a different blue little thing to mark in gaming in the evening. Nice, right, that's worked out nicely. Okay, so I have Lottie to mark in having a migraine attack, a skull for my Halloween planner face sheet for Skeletor being released, the landscaper, I'm using the deco from the kit. The fact that we had a landscaper is kind of why I decided to use a gardening kit this week. I then have Dumbbell version 2 and Jerk script. And then for gaming in the evening, I have some dice. Okay, so moving on to Saturday. The first thing I did on Saturday morning was I did a little bit more shopping, you know? I felt like I deserved a couple little treats. I then made some edits for my weightlifting coaching course, which I've now passed. Just waiting to do my next part of it. I then had team training. I think I want to use the green for that actually. So we take this green out. We'll do the yellow for that one because it was like a 5-minute job. And then team training with a square box. I then grabbed the groceries, so I marked that with a skinny fancy label. I should probably have made these things take up a little bit more space looking at it now. That's okay though. Then I use a half box for, no, I use a green half box. And then maybe this one. So the green half box is for playing some Baldur's Gate with Becca. And then if I lift up the weekend banner, very carefully, I'll pop that one in. There we go. Okay, so for my little bit of shopping on Saturday morning, I have this shopping bag doodle, which I think is left over from Planner Face Monthly. For doing my course edits, I forgot that this was so big and I've just used a tiny little thing. Oh well. For team training, I have Vanilla and a custom team training script from Planner Face. Then for groceries, I have the grocery doodle from the kit. For gaming, I have Vanilla Gaming. And then for my lazy gaming and drinks evening, I just have some deco from the kit. Okay, moving on to Sunday. I started off with my Sunday reset. I don't have the right colour for this, so use my like normal square box. Okay. So I'll use this one instead. So on this Sunday, because I wasn't doing overtime, I wasn't trying to film and edit a video in one day, I actually ended up fitting in quite a lot. So I then did my May monthly setup. And then I played some Baldur's Gate with Becca for a little bit. Okay, for a bit of Baldur's Gate, I'm going to use a patterned third box. It's always a little bit confusing when you've got like a good rhythm going. Are they the same colour? I think they're the same colour. The two blues are very similar. Okay, good thing I had a different blue third box. Cool. We then went to a pub we haven't been to before called the Mason's Arms. It's just a little bit further from our house. I'm trying to get out a little bit more. But while we were at this pub, because I had chips and we were at like a low sort of picnic table, Reggie sat up like on the bench as if he was thinking he was people. And it was adorable. And then we just had, oh, that's not gonna fit. We just had a lazy evening, and I kind of want a quarter box. Yeah, perfect. I drew Sunday's lines a little bit wonky, and I think you can now tell. Okay. So for my Sunday reset, I have the vacuum doodle from the kit. For setting up my May monthly spread, I have some Papershire washi doodles. For some Baldur's Gate with Becca, I have a computer doodle from Papershire. For my editing, I have the laptop doodle from the kit. For going to the pub, I have a Lottie with a glass of wine. For what I've written in my notes is that Reggie thinks he's people, so it's probably what I'm gonna write next to this. But I have a little paw print doodle. And then for my lazy evening, if I just pick up the E of weekend, I'm just gonna shove a little bunny deco underneath there. Cool. So that is all of my stickers down for the week. I'm gonna go fill this in and I'll be right back. Okay, so here's the spread all filled out and I'm really happy with how this one has turned out again. It is a little bit of whiplash when you flip from one page to the next, from this over to this, but it's definitely more seasonally appropriate. But that's everything for this video, friends. If you made it this far, drop me a flower emoji in the comments. Give the video a like if you enjoyed it, and if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time. Bye!